the only way that you can really be good at this is if you choose to live it. Like, you have to live these experiences. You have to live with these mediums. And it really hit hard to me yesterday when Joni had us hold hands. We put down the lights. And we really talked about turning over your devices and having real, authentic relationships, to not letting this take over, but letting it be a layer on top of your life to use for superpowers. And there's a real balance we have to find between that. And many of you may be reluctant to jump in, and you may say, hey, I'm so behind, I don't even think I can catch up. And I want to tell you a little story about somebody who was the love of my life, and that made that leap. So my grandfather probably loved me more than I loved him, although I can't imagine how that's possible. He got sick with Parkinson's a few years ago. And it hit me hardest one day when I was at their house, and he said, I was talking about an upcoming trip I had to London. And he said, you know, I always wanted to go there. He said, but I'll never be able to go there now, because he couldn't leave the house anymore. And it just broke my heart that there was somewhere that he wanted to go that he wasn't going to be able to do, and I was getting ready to go there. And so that day, I'm like, I'm getting him on Skype because I'm going to show him how this works. Then my little brother moves to San Diego, and his other favorite granddaughter, his other besides me, moved to Florida. So she goes to Florida. And he's getting really sad because he's not seeing them as often. He can't leave the house and he can't travel. And so I said, Grandpa, I'm going to sign you up for Facebook, because you're going to be able to kind of follow all of us in our lives and go on and on, and follow where we are. And many people have asked me, like, why do you post about all this stuff? And I'm like, I'm posting this for my grandpa. I am showing off. I want my grandpa to see all of these things, and I know that it'll really make him proud. And so try teaching a man in his early 80s who's never used a computer how to be on social media. You know, I'm like, X out of that. He's like, what? What's X out mean, right? Like, and then I'm like, oh, whoa, you don't realize what they don't know. But you know what? He loved me so much, and he wanted to have this kind of connection that he learned it. And he was on Facebook, and he was following every day. He knows. So he has myself, his daughter Susan, and my brother Jeremy all work for BTC. And so he knows we do all this kind of social media tweet. He doesn't understand what tweeting is or any of that, but it was really, really meaningful to me because in the last few weeks of his life, we had him at Hospice of Dayton, then we brought him home. And when he was at Hospice of Dayton, we happened to have the annual Tweet Out for the Dine Out for No Kid Hungry, and our goal was to reach 50 million people in a day, which is a freaking hard, ridiculously hard goal to do, but we set that in a single day. And I remember we're sitting, my aunt and I were in his hospice room. We had our laptops up. We were telling him what we were doing. He had no idea, but he just knew we were doing good. And I remember he'd look over every once in a while, where are we at, kid? Where are we at, kid? And I would tell him he was able to see us through that whole thing and accomplish the goal, and it was really, really powerful. So he passed away shortly after that, and there was a poem that I read that kind of helped get me through it, and it was with I am with you still in each new dawn. I got it tattooed on my arm. And so I think about all the time about, I got this as a reminder, and my mornings are my favorite time to get up and just kind of like feel like I'm in my grandfather's presence. And I cannot help it. But even now, still, whenever I like post something on social media, I think my grandpa might be watching me, and I hope that I make him proud.